wanted you to share with my with the audience a little bit. You know, one thing that you're amazing at is different ways and different strategies how people can get involved and start making money in property that, you know, have little to no money. So I wanted to go for like a quick crash course of like different strategies.
Yeah.
Just quick fire ones. For me, I was amazed when I came to your crash course. I remember it like it was like yesterday. Yeah. You know the date, 2nd of December, 2019, came on crutches.
I remember.
I just had surgery like the day before. Came, I was like front row. And I was amazed by the amount of strategies that there are in property that people just don't know about. So I wanted to go through them a little bit and kind of
sure.
break it down quick. So rent to rents.
Rent to rent is when you control a property instead of buying it. So hotels, most hotels are large rent to rents. The hotel business will rent the building off of the owner and then run it as a hotel. So rent to rent, an example would be if you rent a little studio apartment for 500 quid a month in Manchester and then put it on Airbnb and booking.com, rent it out for $3,000. You don't own it, but you're making a lot of monthly profit.
Yeah. And how would you convince a landlord to give you the control of their property? Why would they do that?
Well, it's better for them. They're going to get the full rent.
Yeah.
They're going to get a long-term let. They're dealing with commercial contracts. So if you don't pay the rent, you've not got the same rights that a tenant that lives there does. It's way better.
Rent to HMO?
Well, that's when, same story, but instead of putting it on booking.com and Airbnb, you'll rent a property and you'll rent it out on a room-by-room basis. Yeah. And again, control it, make the monthly cash flow. And it's a really important point as well because cash flow is king. And everyone wants to buy property to own it. I see a lot of people spending 25 years saving up for a deposit to buy an investment, and the investment makes them 300 quid a month. Yeah. And it's like, congratulations. How many times do you need to do that before you can become financially free and leave your job? Yeah. Whereas if you can control 2 or 3 properties and get cash flow, then that means you can then have time to then start building your own portfolio and you know, ultimately get out your job.
And that's a business module of like a lot of successful companies, right?
Yeah.
Amazon. Yeah.
Airbnb. They don't own the hotels.
Yeah.
Amazon don't own the stock. Uber don't own the cars. It's all about control. Rockefeller, I think it was Rockefeller that said, own nothing, control everything. Yeah. Controlling things is massively underrated.
Lease option agreements.
That's really nice. So lease option agreements is where
you posted about this actually. You said it's like super important for 2022.
Huge.
Why do you think
most of my deals today are lease options?
Right. Yeah. All right, let's break it down what it is and then we're going to that.
So lease option agreement is when you lease something with the option to buy it later. So for example, if you see a house for £250,000 and you want to buy it but you haven't got the deposit, you can say, hey, I'll buy it now, i.e. I'll take over the mortgage payments, I'll become the landlord, but I'll pay you in 5 years' time. Again, you might think, well, what the heck's in it for the landlord? Negative equity properties, inherited properties where they've just inherited it, they don't need the money now. Yeah. So that's just a really powerful way to get on the property ladder without a deposit. You need to pay £1. But the reason I'm doing so many is because also you can, let's say if you wanted to buy a big property or a pub, let's say you wanted to buy a pub and you want to turn it into apartments, but you need planning permission. You don't want to buy the pub in case you can't get planning or in case you have to wait years. Like I always complain about with some of my sites that I bought. But if you take it on an option and you fix the price to buy it in say in 2 years, you can then get planning, push the value up. But if you don't get planning, you walk away. So it's just such an incredible tool, and any property investor that's worth their weight should understand lease options.
So you were saying this year that's kind of what you're focusing on?
Well, not just this year, the last few years.
The last few years.
Yeah.
Well, why now do you think it's so important?
Because it's only the last few years when I've more sort of slipped into development rather than just property investment, and I've been getting a lot of land and stuff. And land is all about planning, and I didn't want to buy sites and not be able to get the planning, so that's why I've been using options.
Talk to me about no money down deals as well. Are they people think they're not possible?
Well, property investing is a business.